Hello and welcome. My name is Thomas McGee, and in this video I wanted to share with you just a quick tip for how to use the full focus planner in tandem with just general note-taking throughout the day. So recently I had the opportunity to fly out to Nashville, Tennessee for the Achieve conference, which is a conference that's put on by Michael Hyatt, and it all revolved around using the full focus planner. So it was immensely helpful, but one of the big things I took away from that, amongst many other things, was how important it is to have an analog note-taking system. So mine isn't very complicated, but I wanted to share it with you today, so if at all helpful, you could adopt it into your own or adopt it completely. Okay, so if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I have kind of a hybrid system for how I use the full focus planner. Mainly, one of the big pieces of the planner for me is the daily big three. So what I like to do is break down the big three most important things that I have to get done that day, and then use the secondary area of taking down tasks for the other things that could get done today, or it'd be nice if I got them done today, but don't necessarily have to be done that day. But then on the other side of the daily pages, the side opposite to the daily big three, we have a notes section. Now the problem, if you're like me, is that we tend to take a lot of notes throughout the day. Just one phone call, I can fill 2 or 3 pages of notes. However, the problem, of course, is that in the full focus planner, you're only afforded 1 page of notes, which I'm thankful for, because otherwise the full focus planner would probably be as thick as an encyclopedia. So again, but what this poses as a challenge for us then is that we now have to have a place or a method for taking notes. So for me, for the longest time, I was trying to use that second page in the daily pages for the full focus planner. I was trying to use that for my note taking. Filled up too quickly. So now what I do is I use 2 things. So I have the actual full focus planner, which I use to actually plan out my day. And then I have also one of their full focus notebooks, which I didn't actually even know about until I went to the Achieve conference. You don't have to necessarily use this notebook. I prefer it. I like it because it's really clean and simple and easy to work with. And the biggest reason I actually like this notebook, I've tried a lot of different just blank notebooks, is because it's really easy to leave unfolded. And then the paper quality is really great and all that. But again, there are a ton of notebooks out there. You don't necessarily have to use this one. But what I do is I like to, as I mentioned, for the daily big three, and on the left side of the full focus planner is where I plan out my day, whether that's calendar blocking out the appointments and tasks I want to accomplish, or whether that is using the daily big three in the secondary tasks. That's where I'm planning out my day. I still use the notes section on the right hand side, but what I use that note section for in the full focus planner is specifically bullet pointing things that I need to take an action on. So if I'm in the middle of a phone call, or if there is something that pops into my head as I'm designing a website, what I do is I jot that down in the note section of the full focus planner. That way, as I'm wrapping up my day, I know that particular note is an important one. I need to take action on that before the end of the day. Even if that action is as simple as going into Basecamp and assigning myself or one of my team members a task, I know that action has to be taken upon that. That way I know I always have enough space, because it's pretty rare by the end of the day I'm going to have an entire page full of things that have to be done, or new tasks that need to be assigned, or new appointments that need to be created by the end of the day. So I'm pretty safe in knowing that that note section is going to remain pretty open. Then on the other side, when I am on a phone meeting or when I am sketching out or brainstorming ideas, I have a second notebook. And the way that I do it is at the top of every single page, I just simply give this a title. So whether this is a particular phone meeting or whether it's a brainstorming session about a website I'm creating, it's always related to one topic. And I try to dedicate 1 page to it if I can. If I can't, I just continue that title to the next page. So what I do is I go through and I create my notes, I jot things down, and I star or create checkboxes on things that need to be added to the full focus planner, to my digital tool. I make note of those. I go through and finish up my sketches, and then I'm done. This secondary notebook for me is very much where a lot of brainstorming and sketching and jotting everything down takes place. This is not something that I'm going to use to reference later. If it's important, if it needs to be remembered, it'll be either added to the planner or it'll be added to my digital tool. This is not something that I'm gonna thumb through later on to try to reference. This is kind of my brain dump. This is my junk drawer. This is where all the information gets captured, not necessarily referenced later. I used to try to do this in something like Evernote or another digital tool. What I found was that capturing the information was way too slow. By having something as simple as a notebook that goes along with the full focus planner, you can get kind of the the best of both worlds without having to take up a ton of space. So it's really simple, but I just want to take a quick moment today just to share with you a little bit of how I use both, how I've kind of overcome the notes problem. Hopefully that will be helpful and useful for you as you are creating your daily workflow, as you're using the planner, and as you're trying to become more productive. So if you found this useful, as always, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.